You're listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Thursday the 14th of May, 2026. It is 55 days after the spring equinox. It is 38 days before the summer solstice. By the Western Christian calendar, today is the Feast of the Ascension, 40 days after Easter. In today's episode, Flowers and Clouds, Lincoln Center, Skylab, Rowdy Cops, and Living Underground. The sun rises today at 5:39 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 12:52 p.m. The sun sets today at 8:05 p.m. Civil twilight ends at 8:36 p.m. and nautical twilight ends at 9:15 p.m. The length of daytime today is 1 minute 58 seconds longer than yesterday. The moon is in its waning crescent phase and is 7% full at midday. The moon rises today at 3:55 a.m. and then it sets at 5:49 p.m. These are the predicted tides today for Horns Hook. In the wee hours, low tide, 2:36 a.m., 9 centimeters. In the morning, high tide, 8:51 a.m., 1 meter 52. In the afternoon, low tide, 2:45 p.m., 15 centimeters. In the evening, high tide, 9:12 p.m., 1 meter 86. In our shared realm of plants and animals, in the parks, the first round of dandelions has already gone to seed, producing their lovely spherical seed heads and dispersing them to the winds. How quickly the cycle happens, and now it will repeat again and again until the frost comes. Clover is now blooming enthusiastically, and the honeybees have taken note. Siberian irises are coming into flower, and rose bushes are full of buds, just on the verge of opening into flowers. Do you notice how different the skies look, with the clouds taking on their puffier summer shapes? It won't be long until our first good thunderstorm. Commemorations. On this day in 1959, President Eisenhower broke ground for the beginning of the construction of Lincoln Center. The massive arts complex would house the Metropolitan Opera and New York Philharmonic, among other major arts organizations, and it created one of the finest public squares in the city. It was built, however, at a cost. The poor San Juan Hill neighborhood was torn down to create the complex. In the era of what was called urban renewal, this was a standard practice. Lincoln Center has recently been in the process of redesigning the west side of its site to reintegrate it with its neighbors. On this day in 1973, Skylab was launched into space. It was the first United States space station. The Soviets had launched the world's first space station some 2 years previously, the Salyut. Skylab was constructed of one stage of a Saturn V rocket, and it hosted 3 manned missions with astronauts making extended stays, observing the sun and the Earth, making spacewalks, and conducting hundreds of experiments. Skylab would stay in orbit until 1979, when it fell back to Earth. What shall we say of this? On this day in 1995, about 100 New York Police Department officers got rowdy at the Washington, D.C. Hyatt Regency Hotel. They were in the Capitol to represent the department in ceremonies honoring police officers killed in the line of duty. But once at the hotel, they got drunk, trashed their rooms, sprayed each other with fire extinguishers, and set off the fire alarm in the middle of the night. One officer even slid naked down the banister of an escalator in front of other guests. Not the NYPD's finest moment. On this day in 2019, Wikipedia confirmed that China had banned all versions of its site. Perhaps that should be taken as a badge of honor. Finally, today is Underground America Day. It was founded in 1974 by the architect Malcolm Wells, who is considered to be the father of modern earth-sheltered architecture. Now, we're not sure what we think about living underground, but we celebrate the inventive spirit of 1970s environmentalism. Wells designed buildings that had roofs covered with leaf mulch, which would allow plants to seed themselves and produce natural green roofs. And he used passive solar means to provide heat, and utilized the surrounding earth as a thermal mass. He described his architecture as, quote, silent, bright, dry, sunny, long-lasting, easy to maintain, easy to heat and cool, and fire-safe, unquote. It was said in 1974 that 6,000 people in the country were comfortably living in shelters built into the earth. And so on Underground America Day, we celebrate what Malcolm Wells called gentle architecture. Alternate side of the street parking is suspended today in New York City for the Feast of the Ascension. And that is the Observatory, Thursday the 14th of May, 2026.